The music world is mourning the loss of a voice that defined an era. Chubby Tavares, born Antone Tavares, the legendary lead singer of the iconic group Tavares, has died at the age of 80. His family confirmed that he passed peacefully at home after a period of declining health, ending a career that stretched across more than 5 decades and touched the hearts of millions around the world. His passing marks the end of an era not only for his family, but for an entire generation that grew up with his soulful voice and unforgettable harmonies. In a statement shared by the Tavares family, the words were both heartbreaking and full of gratitude. They revealed that Chubby's health had declined over the past year, but his spirit and attitude remained positive until the very end. He died in comfort, surrounded by love. His children and grandchildren remembered him not just as a music legend, but as a father whose kindness, humility, and warmth shaped their lives. They described him as someone who brought joy to every room he entered, someone who was always smiling, always encouraging, and always grateful for the blessings his music career had given him. The most deeply emotional tribute came from his son, Feliciano Vierra Tavares Jr., who paid heartfelt respect to his father's legacy. He spoke about how Chubby was more than a performer. He was a man who gave everything to his family, who balanced world tours with family values, who never let fame change the way he loved the people close to him. Feliciano said his father's voice may have been known worldwide, but his greatest gift was the compassion he carried in his heart. As news of his death spread, fans, fellow musicians, producers, and soul music historians began pouring out tributes online. Many spoke about the magical influence Tavares had on the 1970s soul, R&B, and disco era. Others shared how songs like "It Only Takes a Minute," "Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel," "She's Gone," and "Never Had a Love Like This Before" became the soundtrack of their lives. For many, Chubby's voice was inseparable from their childhood memories, family gatherings, and dance floors lit up during the golden age of disco and R&B. Soul Tracks, who released the first tribute article, expressed that Chubby's death carried a special sting because Tavares was the very first group the publication profiled. The founder of Soul Tracks, Chris Rizek, wrote that he interviewed Chubby for the first time when he was just an 18-year-old college student. It was that interview that shaped his understanding of soul music journalism. Over the years, he spoke with Chubby multiple times and always walked away inspired by Chubby's humility. Despite all the awards, the fame, the hit records, and the global tours, Chubby remained grounded and genuine. That humility was part of why fans adored him. Even now, people continue to ask about Chubby Tavares' cause of death. The family confirmed that his passing came after a year of health decline, not the sudden shock many feared. There was no accident, no unexpected tragedy, just the gradual slowing of a life lived fully and brilliantly. He died peacefully at home, surrounded by the people he loved most. For a man who spent so much of his life on the road, performing in arenas and concert halls, the quiet comfort of a peaceful passing felt fitting. It was the gentle ending of a long, beautiful journey. Chubby and his brothers, Ralph, Tiny, Butch, and Pooch, rose to fame during a powerful moment in music history. Originally performing as Chubby and the Turnpikes, the brothers spent years performing around New England, covering songs from R&B greats, and chasing a record deal with nothing but passion and talent to guide them. In an era crowded with legendary groups, the Tavares brothers carved out their own sound. Smooth, soulful, technically skilled, and emotionally rich. They finally landed a contract with Capitol Records, and in 1973, their single "Check It Out" hit the R&B Top 10 and launched them into national fame. The momentum never stopped. Throughout the 1970s, the group delivered hit after hit, making them recognized not only in the US, but across the world. Blues and Soul magazine called them the next supergroup in 1976, and that prophecy turned out to be true. Tavares dominated the charts and built a loyal global fan base. Whether singing their own chart toppers or covering classics like Hall & Oates' "She's Gone," the Tavares sound was unmistakable. Chubby's lead vocals, warm, emotional, full of depth, were the soul of that sound. His ability to blend power with tenderness made him one of the most beloved lead vocalists of his era. Then came More Than a Woman, their contribution to the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever, a project that would win the Grammy for Album of the Year and forever link the Tavares name to one of the most iconic films in music history. The song gave Tavares global exposure, but also a label they would spend years trying to shake: the disco group. But true fans always knew Tavares were much more than that. They were versatile performers whose music stretched across soul, R&B, funk, falsetto-driven ballads, and heartfelt slow jams. After their major label days ended following the 1983 album Words and Music, the brothers continued touring, performing at festivals, theaters, and international events. Their voices remained strong, and their harmonies remained untouched by time. Chubby's charisma had not faded, even as age crept in. Fans describe his stage presence as timeless, whether performing for 5,000 people or 500. Chubby also stepped into a thriving solo career later in life, collaborating with the legendary producer Preston Glass. His solo albums brought renewed attention to his artistry and introduced his voice to a younger audience who may not have grown up with Tavares music. Many younger fans first discovered Chubby on TikTok and streaming platforms, where Tavares songs have found a second wave of popularity. But no matter how much fame grew around him, Chubby's heart always belonged to his family. That is why Feliciano's tribute struck such an emotional chord. He shared how his father prioritized family dinners, holidays, and deep conversations, how he never let the spotlight overshadow his responsibilities as a parent. He described moments when his father would come off a stage in front of thousands and immediately turn into dad again, asking about school, checking in on his kids' interests, or making sure everyone felt loved. In his tribute, Feliciano said, "He touched the world with his music, but he touched our lives with his heart." Those words captured the essence of who Chubby Tavares was: a musical giant on stage, a gentle soul at home. As tributes continue pouring in, music historians have begun revisiting the influence of Tavares on modern R&B and pop. Many of today's artists were shaped by 1970s soul, whether they realize it or not. The smooth falsetto harmonies, rhythmic grooves, and emotional depth of Tavares tracks can be heard echoed in genres ranging from R&B to house music to contemporary pop. Chubby's voice, in particular, continues to influence vocalists who strive to blend power with emotional storytelling. His passing reminds us that legends are human too. They age, they struggle, they face challenges quietly without letting the world see the battles behind the scenes. The family shared that even during his health decline, Chubby never complained. His attitude remained positive. His spirit stayed bright. He found joy in little things: family visits, old stories, music playing softly in the background, the sound of his grandchildren laughing. The Tavares family announced that a celebration of life will be held at a later date, allowing fans and loved ones to commemorate his memory in the most heartfelt way. Until then, the world continues to mourn and reflect. Chubby Tavares' legacy is a rare kind of legacy, built on music that lifted people's hearts, built on a voice that carried comfort and joy, and built on a life that balanced fame with humility. The cause of his death may have been the slowing of health in the later chapter of his life, but the cause of his legacy is the countless lives he brightened, the unforgettable songs he recorded, and the family he raised with love. The world has lost a legend, but heaven just gained an angel whose voice already feels familiar.